That sumbitch is tough as woodpecker lips.
The Southern Saturday Podcast.
Oh, well, come on, son. You couldn't whoop a pitcher of meat.
It's like giving your ears a big glass of sweet tea.
Come on, boy. Shit.
Drink up and enjoy.
Hey, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Southern Saturday Podcast. I've got a very special guest today, Miss Britany Smith.
Hello, everybody.
It's hard to recognize her without her crayon.
I know. People see me in public and they're like, "Where's your crayon?" I'm like, I don't just ride around with my crayon hanging out my mouth.
But you do bring it out. You brought it in a little plastic bag.
I did bring a plastic bag. Hey, do I need to be looking at the camera right there?
No, you can look at me.
Okay, I didn't know.
Pretend they're not there. They're not. They have no.
I don't know. I'm not fancy, you know. This is the first podcast, like sit down podcast that I've ever been in.
Would you have like a Zoom one or something?
I did have a Zoom one time with Josh Terry.
I did a Zoom one with some guys called Booze Brothers.
Okay.
And it was fun. First podcast I ever did.
All right.
It was a blast. We went to Topgolf last night.
We did.
And
we
you
did.
broke out the crayon.
We did bring out the crayon at Topgolf. It helped me though, didn't it?
It did a little bit.
It did a little bit.
And swinging right-handed helped you a little bit.
It did, because I'm a lefty.
Swinging
when I
a
swing.
left-handed club right-handed.
Yeah. That was a good time. That was a good time. I think that the tequila started messing me up though.
Well, you know. 3 margaritas for somebody your size. If you stacked them, they'd be about your size.
Yeah, for real. That ain't no lie. I told you I was a cheap drunk. It doesn't take much.
But that was fun. That was a blast.
It
First
was
time
cool.
we've ever met in person.
Yeah. I mean, some stranger just come pick me up at the La Quinta Inn, and we just got inside the truck with complete strangers.
I put you up at the nicest hotel in the town.
Oh, man, brother, that thing is nice now, I'm going to tell you.
I can honestly say it's the nicest one in the town because it's the only one we got.
Listen, I told you, we just slept on the Waffle House floor. We didn't.
Courtney, tell me about your friend that you made.
Oh,
you named him Skeeter.
Skeeter the Roach, yeah. We took him to breakfast this morning at the Waffle House. It's a good time.
And you
down
said
there.
we got the nicest Waffle House you ever been in.
Dude, listen, Waffle House in Alabama is nothing. I have been to every Waffle House in the state of Georgia, and nothing has ever compared. So shout out Waffle Houses in Alabama.
Well, that Waffle House is the only one that's like that. I don't know why. I think it's the staff in there. They decorate
great.
for every holiday.
We walked in and it looked like America just puked everywhere. I was like, these are my kind of people. Yes, customer service 0 to none.
Well, y'all had K-Ron. He's the best one in there.
Dude, K-Ron was so nice, so polite, so respectful. Our food came out so quick. I even told him, I was like, man, we're from Georgia. We ain't got no shit like this where I'm from.
If you'd have told him who you were here to see, he'd have been like, oh, yeah.
I didn't know.
Me and Jackson go there almost every day.
Oh, well, I didn't know. I didn't want to, go in there and be like, you know that Justin Stagner? And then they say, no, we don't know that.
Every time that they put up a new decoration, K-Ron brings like new cups that go along with the decoration.
Yeah.
And he lets Jackson take them home. So every time Jackson goes, he's like,
Georgia needs to get on. Georgia needs to get on the shit now. Come on, listen.
They gave him a beach ball cup the other day.
Have you seen? And then right when you walk in, they had it was somebody's birthday that works there, and they had like a whole picture thing of this, and they were like, "Happy birthday!" Who I don't even know who it was. I was like, man, this is legit.
This is how Waffle House should be.
I mean, it is. And then everybody that come into the Waffle House reminds me of back home because like there were people holding the doors for people, and younger people were letting the older people walk in first, and everybody was saying yes, man. I told Adam, and then I was listening to everybody talk, and I get this a lot. People want to know if my accent is real or fake on TikTok, and I was sitting there listening to people around me talk, and I was like, maybe I'm from Alabama. Like, no wonder people in Georgia want to know where I'm from. It'll be people in my own hometown. They'll be like, where are you from? Are you from another state? And I'm like, no, I'm from right here, you son of a bitch. Like, I've lived here my whole life. Like, you see me grow up here. What the hell? So I get that a lot. But listening to everybody there and just seeing how everybody was interacting 100% reminded me of home as far as, the people and how they were acting there. But the Waffle House didn't remind me of home now.
Well, people ask me the same thing about my accent. Is it real? And mine, in my case, is not.
I will never get... the first time I talked to you on the phone, I was expecting the Southern Grandpa.
Yeah.
Like, I was expecting that. And then when you spoke, I was like, hold on, did I get the right number? Did I just call the wrong person? So it took me a minute to realize that it was actually Justin Stagner I was talking to and not Southern Grandpa. But that was funny. I will say that about the first time we talked. That's
funny. Everybody that I talked to.
Yep.
They're like, whoa, hold on, man.
Hold up now.
Which I think we've known each other about a year.
Yep, about a year.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
It feels like
man.
yesterday and forever
crazy.
ago.
Isn't it crazy how you can meet somebody online in real life and then it'd be like you've known them? Because I told Adam last night after we got out the truck, with strangers, I was like, I know that like we don't know them, but thank God they didn't just kill us or, and remember I sent you that text last night. I was like, thanks for a good time and not killing us,
What an elaborate plan.
Yes.
To start a podcast, have multiple guests on before you, and be like, when I finally get that Britany Smith here, she's going in the freezer.
Yeah. Yep. We were talking about it. But it does, after hanging out with y'all for just a short time, I told Adam, I was like, I feel like these people are our cousins. Like, we've known them our whole life. Courtney, your wife Courtney, I love her to death. She was like hanging out with one of my own sister-in-laws. In fact, I texted my sister-in-laws yesterday when I texted Courtney. I was like, what are you wearing? And when she said shorts and a t-shirt, I was like, oh my God, she's my people. I texted my sister-in-laws and my cousins. I was like, she's one of us,
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, your wife is great. I love her. We love your stuff. They're good people. If you come down here for a podcast, he's not going to kill you.
Exactly. You'll live right through it.
Yeah, you'll live.
I was just worried about you catfishing me. Maybe you were really like 300 pounds or something.
No. And you said that when I got out the truck, you were like, man, you are smaller than you look on the
You
internet.
are. Guys, I know she looks little online, but she is pocket sized.
Ooh, listen. It gets so many people. I see people sometimes staring at me in public, right? And I know in their head, they're like, is it that girl or is it not that girl? And so they'll walk up to me, and that is literally the first thing they say is, oh my God, we didn't realize you were kid-sized.
Yes, literal
but yeah,
kid-sized.
5'2", 105 pounds. Like I'm
I don't
little.
even believe the 105-pound part.
I am. But yeah, I get that all the time.
Those people don't realize how weird. They're weirder when they don't come say hello.
Yes, when
it's
they're
so
just
much weirder for me to
staring.
look over there and you just be like,
Just come up to me
and then when
say
I look, you're like,
something. Yeah, like I wouldn't
and you
stare.
still go right back to staring. I'm like,
Yes.
finally, like I'll sometimes be like,
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah,
I
how
do
are
the
you?
same thing. But
some guy was outside Waffle House's door staring at me through the door, through the glass, just going, and he's telling his girlfriend, and she's looking too, going like,
I don't know.
and then finally I just go, and he walks in, he's
how
like,
you doing?
are you him? I'm like,
Are you him?
Yeah.
Not even your name. Are you him?
You like capital H him? No.
No. Not him. Not him. Yeah. But you know what? People don't realize this, but I'm actually pretty shy in real life. I grew up shy. I won't say that I am now.
Buy that for a second.
I won't say that I am as much now, but I was very much introverted growing up. I was the kid, me and Adam. I don't even know how me and my husband Adam.
I would believe him.
Yeah, my husband Adam is very much introverted. But I'm not even sure how we're high school sweethearts. Don't ask me how we first started talking to each other, because we were both the kids that sat like in the back corner of the classroom that didn't really say a lot.
Maybe y'all left each other a note on the...
I seen him in them overalls. That's what happened. Let me tell you. I'm a sucker for a man with some thick thighs, okay? Mm-hmm. Adam got some thick thighs. And I will never forget, I seen him walking down the hallway one day. This was before we even had a class together. I seen him walking down the hallway, and him and his cousins, they had all got together. I think it was on like their grandpa's birthday. He passed away before this, but they all wore overalls, Liberty brand overalls, to school one day. And I remember seeing Adam walking down the hallway, and his thighs were just, them overalls were just thick on them thighs, brother. You hear me? Oh my God. And I remember looking at Adam, and I was like,
you telling this story sounds like me being like, and they brought that steak out, buddy.
listen, because I was little in high school too. I needed somebody to protect
no
me,
kidding.
okay? Listen, my dad used to take us hunting when we was little. We're going everywhere with this. But anyway.
That's good. That's what I want.
But my dad was he's serious hunter now, serious hunter. And so he would take us into the woods when we were little and just sit us by a random tree, and then he would walk like another mile into the woods and just leave us there, okay?
Same thing.
I have always been little, and my mom would be like, Frank, a house cat could drag Britany out of the woods, much less a damn like
Bear.
bobcat or a bear, which we don't have bears from where I'm at.
You don't have
Georgia.
any at all?
No, there was like one that was spotted like 3 years ago, and everybody lost their mind.
They're everywhere
We
here.
don't have. No, I would have never made it. A bear would have took me out a long time ago.
yeah.
Yeah, but we're big hunter and fishers or whatever. But yeah, so I've always been tiny. So when I seen Adam walking down the hallway, I was like, he looks like he could protect me. You know what I mean? Yeah. It looks like a man that might could protect me. And then we actually had sex ed together. Imagine that.
I'm glad you said ed.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were going to say Ed.
No.
I'm like, yeah,
I
no
was
kidding.
a good girl in high school, everybody. I really was. We both walked a straight line. We were scared to death. I was like, we can't be doing nothing funky because I played sports.
Courtney come home one time when she was a kid. She was raised like strict, like her grandma was super strict.
That comes
She
from
come
strict
home
family.
and she's like crying or whatever, and her aunt's like, "What is it, baby?" And she's like, "I think I'm pregnant." And she's like, "Why do you think you're pregnant?" She's like, "I held hands with this boy today."
That was me though, and because in church they taught you holding hands leads to babies. You know, I grew up in a really strict Baptist church with my grandparents. And oh man! So anyway, I walked straight line. There wasn't none of that going on when I was in high school. Okay, let's just go ahead and set that straight right now, Grandma. But anyway, so where was we going with this?
You were in sex ed with Adam.
Sex ed with Adam. Okay, so sex ed with Adam, and after sex ed, they had this thing split into two different things. So like you'd have sex ed the first part of the semester, and then PE gym the next part of the semester. Whatever. Don't ask me why.
All right.
Don't ask me why. That's Effingham County education system. So anyway, but that's how we met. We met in sex ed in school when we were 14 and 15 years old, and this year I believe we'll be together 20 years.
Wow.
So yeah,
Over,
he is.
More than an adult.
Yeah. He's been my A1 since day one that we met. And I always tell everybody that I am so lucky. I'm the lucky one in my relationship. That's the hardest working man. He's sitting outside the door, y'all. We wouldn't let him in here. He's working right now, actually. He's actually working right now.
He's working right now.
Hard worker, jack of all trades, man. He could build a house. He's very smart, mechanical engineer. He went to school for mechanical engineering. Very smart, very math minded.
If you're an engineer, sure.
Yeah.
That's what I went to school for.
So then
Didn't do anything with it.
Hey, listen, then I seen then I seen he was smart too in school, and I was like, oh,
Yeah, you hit the jackpot.
this is one I want to have
Big
babies
thighs,
with. Hell
smart
yeah,
man.
thick thighs, strong on the bottom end, thick, smart in the head too. I was like, I need to make babies with this person. Good offspring.
Sex ed taught me how.
Yeah, sex ed taught me how to do it. But yeah, and a coach always teaches sex ed. Tell me how that works.
Well,
tell me how that works.
Exactly.
Sex ed and history.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, history, anybody can teach it. Anybody, you could let me go tomorrow and teach history. I could do it.
Yep. That's Adam. Too.
I mean, I could teach sex ed too, but it would be way funnier than they wanted it to be.
Yeah, you'd be on the news.
Yeah.
You'd be on the news. No, these kids.
But anybody can teach history.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, can I
absolutely.
teach science? No way. But I can teach history. I couldn't teach math.
No, see, that's Adam. That when our kids get older, I'm like, go. Even now, I don't even know why. I just said when they get older, they're teaching kids some crazy shit now in school.
Yeah.
As far as math, my little boy, he just turned 9, but he was in 3rd grade last year. He brought home some shit. I was like, I don't even know. Go talk to your damn daddy, because I don't even know what.
And
this
I
is.
love math, but I don't feel like I could teach it at all.
No. I don't think I could either. I try.
But I could teach history.
Yeah.
History is literally just reading what the book says and telling the kids that.
Telling them this happened on this date. I sucked it. But you know what? I hated history in school. I did.
I
Not that I
loved
was
it.
bad at it. I did really well in school. I know people hear me talk and they're like, oh, you must be done. No, I actually graduated like at the upper of my class.
Yeah.
Like I graduated with all A's with distinction, with honors and stuff like that. So there's like this stigma, I think, against people with Southern accents.
Yeah, but you know what people don't realize is comedy and brains, they're hand in hand.
They do.
They do.
They go together.
Like all of your best writers for shows and stuff, they're all Harvard grads.
Yep.
Like they're
Yep. It really does. It takes a lot.
all the
to make
people that
laugh.
are comedians and they pretend they're stupid are not stupid.
No,
Like,
they're not. You really
all
have
smart.
to think about it.
There's
And that's the thing too. Like people come.
you can't be witty and dumb.
No, you can't. You can't. People come on on social media all the time, and they're like, "Where do you come up with your stuff?" You know, I know they probably do the same thing to you. They're like, "How do you come up with this?" And I'm like, "This is real life for me." Like,
Yeah.
I'd say 95% of my skits actually come from like things that have happened in my life to either me or somebody I know, or in my childhood, or you know, a cousin that's gone to jail for some horse shit, or you know, whatever.
Or at least somebody you know that's like that.
That's done
like,
that. There'll be people come on there and they're like, this has never happened in the South, and I'm like, tell me that lie again. Like,
those people drive me crazy.
Man,
It's like,
I can't stand
I think what you mean is you have never had it happen to you, which is fine.
Thank you. Okay.
Like, and then half the time you're like, where do you even live? And they're like, I live in Maine.
Yeah.
You're like,
I live up in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
Like, okay,
shut the hell
how do you
up.
know? You know. And everybody comes from different walks
Exactly.
of life. That's what I tell everybody. Like, just because I had those, you know, the experience that I've had in the South, might not mean that you've had those experiences in the South.
Nobody in the
But at
South
same-
talks like this. Give
Thank
me a
you.
break.
But at the same time, those things can kind of mesh together too. And I think that's where
Sometimes,
you
yeah.
and I have talked about people coming on there and saying, well, you're copying so-and-so, or you're copying so-and-so. And a lot of times I reply back and I'm like, listen, everything that you see me do comes from this head right here through my experiences. And if my experiences are similar to somebody else's stuff, then so be it.
Most
but
people's are.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
you
Especially
know?
in a same, like a Southern is a culture. It is.
Right.
It doesn't matter what state you're from. Everybody's a culture down here. Like everybody knows about Southern culture. So if I make a video, it's a good chance that somebody else has at least made a video on the same topic.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, I just, you know, you got haters out there. You got people that are going to be whatever. But I know we were talking a little bit last night about competition stuff. You know, like there's so many comedians on here that get so serious and so like wound up about things. And I'm just like, calm down. Like, it's not that serious.
It's misplaced.
Yeah. Like, I don't view you as competition with me.
Right.
I view you as another Southern comedian who's a friend. Like, I'm out here rooting for everybody. Like, if you're on here doing Southern comedy, I'm not looking at you in like what am I trying to say? I'm not looking at you in any type of negative light. Like, I'm glad you're out here doing good. I'm glad for anybody that's out here doing anything.
It doesn't
Southern.
take anything from you.
Exactly. Like, I'm not taking anything from you. You're not taking anything from me. I just don't view it like that, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's misplaced. Like, if you want to have that feeling towards somebody, it shouldn't be in the comedy world of TikTok or Instagram or whatever. It should be like, maybe you got bumped at a comedy club or something. You know, that's the only place where the competition's going to be.
Absolutely.
Or if we're both going up for a Coca-Cola deal or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
like,
you got chose over me. I'm like, whatever. And at the same time,
which
I wouldn't
never
be mad.
happens.
Like,
you know, you
like,
never,
who
you hardly
cares?
ever know that somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just misplaced.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. It's just crazy the drama sometimes that you hear about on here and from other people that, you know, that we talk with. Because I know that you talk with a ton. You talk with way more people than I do on here. But I try
very
to,
many.
I try to
I do
keep my
now because
circle
I'm trying
small.
to get guests.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I try to keep my circle small as far as social media is concerned. But I do that in real life too. Like, you can really ask me. I don't have a ton of close friends. Like, I have family, a bunch of family, and I have, you know, friends that I love. But I try to keep my circle small. I like it small. Like,
I do too. Well, I have a big family, but like outside of that, me and Courtney maybe have like 2 friends apiece we hang out with. That's about it.
That's us. And
Adam,
I
don't want any more. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
I love meeting like people like y'all, but y'all don't live here.
Right. Like, we're not coming over every weekend or nothing and hanging out, driving 7 hours, you know, just to come see y'all.
Exactly.
I'm glad that we did drive 7 hours though, because we had a good time last night. And I felt like we've had some good conversation. Even though, you know, I got drink them margaritas.
We're gonna drink some more tonight.
Hell yeah, we're going to the Hooters, right? That's where we're going. We got them in Georgia too. So I'm excited about tonight because I don't ever not have my kids, and that's what, you know. I know we've talked about this before, but I'm limited. People are like, "Why don't you do a comedy tour? And why don't you do this? And why don't you do that?" I'm like, I'm a mom. You know, being a mom's my first job. I tell people that all the time. Like, but I could give 2 shits if something happened to all of my social media stuff tomorrow, tonight, whatever. Like, at the end of the day, I don't do it for money. I don't do it for really any other reason than to make people laugh.
Right.
You know what I mean? That I get comments, people send me messages and say like, I'm going through stage 4 cancer, and I was sitting through a treatment and you made me laugh
Those
today,
are the
and I
best
haven't
comments.
laughed. Like that's the kind of stuff that keeps me going.
Yeah.
So and then we use what we make, and we try to help families in our area. So stuff like that keeps me going, but it's not my life. And I don't think people understand that. People see you out in public and they think you're just whatever. And I tell people all the time, I'm just a normal person like you. Like,
don't you realize you see me at Waffle House?
Exactly. Like we're at the damn Piggly Wiggly. Like who do you think I am, brother? Like, I tell people, I always use the phrase, my grandpa used to say this all the time. He used to say that, I'm a simple person. I wake up in the morning, I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like you do. So, I say that all the time to people. I'm like, I'm just a normal person. I'm a little shorter than y'all thought I was, but other than that, I'm just normal person.
Well, I think once that changes, that's when everything suffers anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if I was to be some arrogant asshole that thought I was too good, I'm probably not funny anymore either.
Yeah, exactly. And then people meet you in real life, and then that word spreads. You know
and
what
you
I mean?
see that happen.
Yeah. Oh,
we
man.
see it happen.
Oh, man. We don't even want to get started on that.
No, we're not. We're not here to throw people under the bus.
No. But
we see it happen.
Oh, every day. Every day I see a new TikTok, somebody busting out.
I watched one right before you got here, and I was sitting there like, come on, man.
I was watching one last night too, and I was like, what? No way. But then, just like everything else, you can't believe everything you see and hear on the internet. You know what I mean? The Lord's watching. That's all. That's what my grandma always says. Don't forget, you might do something behind closed doors, but Jesus is watching.
That's true.
I remember that my whole life I would think that too, so
just looking
growing up, I'd be like, is Jesus watching me do this right now? Would Jesus want me to do this?
The WWJD bracelets everybody had.
Yes, that was a big thing back in the day, wasn't it?
Yes,
Good
it
Lord,
was.
have mercy. Good Lord, but it's something else.
I don't know. It's weird. We deal with a lot of weird people in this space. Like I don't deal with hardly anybody. Like the only people that I invite to this are people that I know are going to be
that you've talked to. That
exactly.
Like that they're not like weirdos.
Exactly.
Creeps,
but there's
like
just so many that I dodge where I'm like, dodged a bullet there.
And you have to be careful too, because even sometimes by association, like I know that there have been podcasts before that have had certain people on them that are going through like scrutiny right now with different things, and then people are just like, well, so and so was associated with them.
But you know what? Those don't make any sense to me.
Yeah, me neither, because it's like you can't control if I leave here today.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like
if you left and stomped a baby into a curb when you left, that's got nothing to do with me.
You didn't do anything.
You see, you had Britany Smith on there, and then she curb stomped that baby.
Not curb stomping a baby.
Yeah, I mean, what does that got to do with me?
Exactly. I just had her on my podcast. She was fine when she left here.
It was pre-child murder. I had her.
Oh man, yeah, that's
But they do. Anybody that's associated with anything, and then like Peloton got in a lot of shit because I can't remember what it was. They asked Theo Von not to.
Who did now?
Peloton.
A Peloton. Okay.
They got in a bunch of shit. Let's not single them out. All these companies that are just like, hey, we would like it if you wouldn't bring up so and so on, and you're just like, what?
Right. Yeah.
You sell bicycles,
exactly,
or you sell popcorn, whatever the hell it is.
Whatever it
that
is.
has absolutely nothing to do with anything I want to talk about.
Nothing.
I mean, I'm not going to come out and be like, we should kill all the children or whatever.
Yeah,
it is.
exactly.
But it's just like, if I live in America and I say who I'm going to vote for or something,
right?
What does that have to do with popcorn?
What does that
Nothing.
have to do with? Exactly. And it's become so, you just have to be so careful what you say.
I do not.
And but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, though. You know
I do.
What I mean? So
I do.
even sometimes when I'm filming a skit, some things I've taken out of my skits because I'm like, this might be a little bit, I'm kind of walking really close on a line there or whatever. And I'm the kind of person where I don't like to offend people if I can help it. Like, honestly, I'm not gonna purposely offend somebody. If I can, you know what I mean?
It's never on purpose. I'm always trying to make somebody laugh.
Trying to make somebody laugh. And I've gotten some lashback from some some of the religion videos that I've done. And I don't think people understand that I grew up in the South, and I literally visited every denomination in the South that you could think of. Like one set of my grandparents, on the Collins side were Baptists, like hardcore Baptists. And then my other set of grandparents on the Driggers side they kind of floated around a little bit. Pentecostal one time, Church of God one time, Baptist one time, Methodist. So I've been there and I've done that. So when I make those skits, like I'm making those skits off of things that I've seen growing up. And then people lose their minds and holler like, blasphemy. She's, making fun of this. And
my thing is, if you live in the South and you go around to churches and you're trying to tell me you hadn't seen crazy shit,
you ain't lying.
You are lying.
You lying through your damn teeth.
Because there is crazy shit.
Listen.
Like, look, this one guy that I work with, he said he went to this church and he walked in there and it was a new church, and like, of course they were speaking in tongues in this church, they do that thing where they're like, yeah, we got some new members here today, and like they bring them down front.
Oh no!
And then they tell them to start speaking in tongues.
Oh,
and the guy that I work with was like, no. And he's like, come on, man.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, exactly. So he walks up to him and he's like, come on, man. He starts chapping him in the chest. He's like, just say la, 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 la. And my buddy was like, I'm never coming back here.
Never. No, I can't believe that now. People,
I don't know why you can't believe it, because there's a dude.
No, I mean, I can believe it, but what I'm saying is I can't believe that the dude like pat and said, say blah, 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 blah.
Say la, 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 la.
That's insane. That is insane to me. That's insane. And if that doesn't go to show you that like some people are out there faking stuff. Like,
of course they are.
Dude, they're out there faking some stuff. And I'm not saying like, listen, I grew up with the Bible and in church and stuff like that. I've seen my own grandmother speak in tongue before. And if you knew my grandma, like I'd never seen anything like that, but it gave me chill bumps. Like I was literally like, what is happening to grandma? Because I didn't know what was happening. I was like, is grandma having a stroke? Why is she? What's happening? But when you're a kid, like you don't understand that, especially if you come from a Baptist setting your whole life. Yeah. And then all of a sudden one day you're at a Church of God and people start talking in tongues. The Baptists don't like you to talk in church. Don't raise your hand. Don't you say nothing. You sit there, you be quiet.
That's
if you
right.
make a noise, you get slapped. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So to go from that to another denomination that is completely different.
Dude, you ever been in one of those churches where you just feel like they hate everybody in there?
Yes.
Like those are the worst. I went to one time and like the lady was like, it was a lady that was up there preaching, and she was like, I got took there by a girlfriend, and
not the lady preacher.
Oh my God, dude.
The Baptists don't like those either.
This lady hated everything. She hated everything. She wanted you to. She's another one of those places. There wasn't 10 people in this damn place.
Man. Yep.
She's like, say something that you're thankful for or something. It was almost like it was Thanksgiving. And this lady was like, I'm happy we're having this nice weather. And that lady was like, yeah, I hear the news every day talking about this wicked weather, talking about this wicked rain. And I was like,
what
news are you watching, lady?
I need to tune into that news station.
Well, yeah, no shit.
What the hell? I'd have got up and walked out.
I'll never forget that. She was sitting there and she's like, they're always talking. That's the devil. It was like Bobby Boucher's mama. The news is the devil talking about this wicked weather.
Oh, man, no.
I was like, I've never heard any news agency ever say this wicked weather.
Girl. I'm glad you didn't marry that girl.
We're all happy about that.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure your grandma and your mom and them were like, oh, praise Jesus. Hallelujah.
Oh, man, I'll never forget that. That was crazy. I've never been to a little church like that. It was one of those churches like you've seen them. It'd be like a little white church, and it's literally like 200 square foot.
I know. That's my grandparents' church. That's the church like I grew up in. Like literally, they had like 12 members.
Hot as shit. There's no air conditioning. Nothing happening.
No,
I don't even remember if there was a light. It seems like they might have just left the door open for light. I'm serious.
No, I mean, listen, I get they come, but I give it to my grandparents though. Did
y'all find this place? I don't think we're supposed to be in here. Who owns this?
Who owns this place? What is this when we're not here? Nah, my grandparents were very devoted to that little church. My grandma still is. So, and they're good people that come out of that church. So,
I'm not talking about your church.
Yeah,
but this thing that I was in.
I just had to clarify that in case some of them church people be listening to this podcast. I love y'all. I ain't making fun of y'all. I'm
making fun of that one. That one was wild. I'm telling you, it wasn't normal.
Gotcha. Yeah, there. You have like some radical radical stuff that people believe in, it gets wild. It gets wild. I mean, you've seen the people. That's why I made that one TikTok.
That one church claims to be a Baptist church. What is it, Westboro Baptist Church?
And they stand outside. Yes, they stand outside and like throw stuff at people's cars. They be bringing the snakes
they got some
and stuff
radical views. That's for sure.
Yeah, they do. They do. Like, it's not that serious.
I haven't heard them in the news in a while. They need to. Guys, what are y'all doing? Let's spark something up here.
I'm telling you what. Maybe they finally got like the.
I don't think so. They probably just lost some followers.
They're probably just sitting back waiting. They're probably
that's something else people don't understand. Almost anybody, as long as they have a little bit of charisma to them, they can get people to follow them for almost anything.
Hear me out. Let me look at the camera and say this. If I can get on there and have a following, anybody can.
They can.
Anybody can.
Like Charles Manson talked people into going to murder people for him.
Thank you.
And if you look at Charles Manson in prison, his interviews are just like, you're like, how did he talk anybody into doing anything?
Ooh, dude,
what the fuck's going on?
You ain't lying. But yeah, it's people. I think that people just want to jump on a trend or a train or whatever. They want. People want to be accepted. So like if you there's some people that just like strive for that, like they just live for that. And if anybody, so
it's just weird. It's in us.
Naturally
to be like a tribal, like to pick a team for anything. Exactly. That's why we like sports. That's why
it's like in school when you used to get so nervous when like they'd be up there and you'd have like the captains picking teams, and you'd be sitting there like, oh, I hope they pick me. Please pick. I know I'm little, but I can play. Please pick me.
It's exactly the same thing.
It starts in elementary school.
Somebody wants to feel like they fit in somewhere, like with a group of people. They're not okay with just being like, I'm just fine.
Yeah, no. I think it's a mental thing too.
It is. Of course,
I think sometimes like people who are mentally kind of not together up there, kind of they kind of stray from stuff, and then they get themselves caught up in some crazy shit.
Of course they do.
Like some crazy shit, Like you look at these people,
but they don't talk about that enough. Not just with some extremists, whatever, but like a lot of shit where you're just like, that person's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you look at any cult leader ever. I mean, honestly, name one cult leader that was 100% stable in the head.
That guy that made everybody drink the Kool-Aid, he was cool.
Well, besides him. But look at these people. And then you look back like into history at certain things.
You realize all the people following them too is also fucking crazy.
Exactly. You look back, it's kind of one of those things with what's the phrase? Hindsight's 20/20. You like look back and you're like, man, look at these. Like, I bet you they're looking back at themselves now going, what was I thinking?
But you know what's crazy? You ever watch the documentaries where you're like, oh, they're not. Like,
no.
I watched the one about Waco, and the lady still, or maybe it wasn't Waco. It was one of the nutty ones.
The religious one, you talking about the people?
Yeah, and the lady's still on there like, we were doing God's work, and you're sitting there like, she's still, still brainwashed.
Yes. I think I watched part of that. I didn't watch the whole thing because I just couldn't get through it. I was like, I felt bad for like the kids and stuff that are being brought up in this craziness. Oh, yeah. Like they just think that it's normal, and that's another thing that I like to talk about with people too, is sometimes you're brought up a certain way.
I was about to say, if you start somebody as a child, that's different.
It is. Than like somebody getting into something after you grown and you
know exactly.
Better.
You were 20 when you joined that.
Come on. But that goes with so many other things though. Like I talk to people all the time about it doesn't matter how you were brought up. Like it's never too late to change. Like if you find out that like something you were taught growing up was wrong and you've been doing that, like it's okay to stray from that and say, you know what, that thing that grandma and grandpa told me about.
And that happens.
Yes. With me, I'm living proof of it. Yeah, me too. Living proof, dude. Living proof.
Me too. Where you grow up and you're like, damn, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah. I've said that 1,000 times, dude. But, I feel like once you become an adult or close to an adult, it's your job to kind of distinguish like, hey.
Of course it is.
That was wrong.
You can't just be like, well, I was brought up that way.
Yeah.
That's not an excuse anymore.
At all. And people still use it as an excuse. And I'm like, no, you're grown. You can make your own decisions now.
Exactly.
You don't have to listen to what grandma and grandpa said or your mom and dad. Like you're grown. Make your own decisions. So,
but people can't though.
They can't.
A lot of people can't. They literally just like, well, it's the same thing with those people that like it's a culture thing. Like,
it is. It
and
really
they do
is.
it with everything. They do it with beliefs. They do it with like like
everything.
Down here. I don't know about Georgia, probably the same exact way. Down here, like people believe like as soon as you hit 16, you get you a goddamn job and work it till you die.
Yep.
Like what you tell them you want to do something else and they're like you
doing what? No, that's us
quit
down
that
there
job.
Too. Yep.
You know, whatever it is. Like,
I bet you got some flack. What did Grandpa say? What did Grandpa say?
Look,
I need to know what Grandpa said.
My grandpa was old school. So whenever I told him that I was going to quit my job, he said,
say what now?
Justin. I said, what? And he's like,
what now?
She ain't gonna quit that job. I know you ain't done went crazy. That's what he told me.
I swear, dude. No, that's Georgia too. That's straight Georgia right there. Yeah.
And like even a lot of guys out there was like, "Damn man, you gonna leave this job?"
Yeah.
And like it's so crazy because like even before me, like they'd be talking about people, and somebody'd be like, well, man, I've always wanted to. This one kid left to like go. I can't remember where he went. He was going traveling somewhere. Him and his wife wanted to go live in wherever.
Yeah.
And all them guys out there was like, you believe he's going to quit this job?
Just to move where his wife wants to?
So he can, why would he stay here just for the job?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. I think that Southern people have that, old school Southern people have that mindset because I don't know about your grandparents, but my grandparents were dirt poor.
Both
and
sets. That's why they have that mindset.
Right.
They've never had money their whole life.
Exactly.
And they can't wrap their mind around, I could probably make this money anywhere. I could probably go somewhere else and make this money.
So it's like it's not their fault that they have that mindset. You know what I mean?
But it's just in their head. Like they can't imagine in their lifetime ever leaving a job that would pay them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Back in the day, it was different too. Like if you lost a job back in the day, it was hard to get a job again anywhere else,
My grandparents, like a lot of times they relied on like selling furs and stuff before the fur trade or like meat or fish.
Yep.
Like if you didn't have a job, if you were laid off, you could sell fish.
Right. And that was us. My both sets of my grandparents started out as sharecroppers in Bullitt County. Yeah. So they sharecropped and like
we don't have a whole lot of that here.
Well, I mean,
we're more of like the rivers and the ocean, the Gulf.
So that's how they made money, you know what I mean, for a long time. But they were dirt poor. So they just have that mindset of if you have a good job, like why would you ever?
It's crazy to hear those people talk about certain things, and you're like, you can't wrap your mind around it.
It has changed. So in just that short amount of time, we were talking about my grandpa Driggers earlier. Yeah. You know how he was born, and he only weighed 2 pounds, and how back then like babies died. They stuck him in a mason jar to keep him warm.
Some holes in it.
Yeah, they put some holes in there, stuck him in the top of the chest drawer to keep him warm. But they were like, he'll never make it. But he grew up in a time that's totally different than we do now. I can remember him telling stories about waking up in the mornings and seeing the chickens peck the dirt under the ground because they just didn't like. You see people with like nice houses, like we have nice houses nowadays. They didn't have all that. They didn't have the luxuries of toilets. Like they had outhouses. They had to go outside to use the bathroom.
I asked my grandpa about like something about their yard or what. He said we didn't have no grass. Yeah. And I thought like to myself like why? Like why would you? Yeah. He said son, if you had to cut your grass, that's time you could have been making money. Like you could have been picking peas or whatever the hell it is. Yep. And that's I can't wrap my mind around thinking it that way.
Exactly.
Like dude. We were talking about both our grandpas dropped out of school.
Yeah.
My grandpa dropped out of school to sell catfish. Like
I believe it.
They were like his dad was literally like, it wasn't one of those, son, please don't quit school. It was one of those like, you going to school when you could be making money.
Exactly. But you're right though. But it was just a different time. We were talking. My grandpa quit school in the 3rd grade. He had to help out on the farm and stuff like that. And so we were talking earlier. I don't think people wrap their mind. There's still a generation of people out there, and it's getting fewer and fewer because they're basically dying off because they're old. But my grandpa didn't know how to read and write because he quit school in the 3rd grade. So we were talking earlier about we would have to take him to all his doctor's appointments and stuff because he couldn't read and write. He just couldn't. Like he would sign an X on the line.
And imagine trying to wrap your mind around now. A 20-year-old
that
couldn't.
So
you know what
some
I mean?
people would look at us crazy, like younger nurses and stuff. Sure. I would go in and I would say, well, I need to go back there with him or whatever because he's not going to be able to fill out the paperwork. And they would be like, why? And I would like discreetly say, well, he can't read or he can't write. And so, but Grandpa didn't care. He was like, shit, what do I need to learn how to read? I knew how to drive a tractor. That's all I need to know how to do, So it's crazy, but yeah. And you're talking about your grandpa with the grass thing. I will never forget. we didn't have a lot of pets and stuff growing up, and neither did my grandpa. You know, pets, like back in the day, people didn't have pets.
I have a bit about it.
They had, you know, like animals they raised to eat. But I remember we were somewhere, and he saw somebody buying dog food for their dog, and he was like, why would you? Back in the day, if we had old stray dog, he had to catch the rats and the rabbits and whatever else was around. We wasn't feeding no dog food. What is that?
My grandpa had a guy that run a meat market that would give him a 50-gallon drum of meat scraps just to sling out back to the dogs for free. Like, he wasn't buying the dog food.
No, dude, that's my grandpa. He was like, lost his mind one day.
My bit was about how we lived in a trailer that you could literally see the ground through.
Okay.
Like, had holes all in the floor.
Yep.
But you wouldn't let no shit-eating dog in this house.
Hell
I'm like,
no. Hell no. That was us
I can feed him to the bedroom floor. I think he's doing better than me out there.
Ooh, man.
But my grandpa, the old school. You didn't have no pet, a dog inside?
Yeah, a dog inside. No, see, that's that old school mentality, boy. My grandpa, but can you believe they got that dog inside their house?
I don't think that dog wants to come in here.
They was letting that dog eat out of a bowl. Can you believe? You know, that was my grandpa, but it's just like a different time that they grew up in.
Like that Kevin Hart skit where he's like, look at that cat drinking that milk out the damn bowl.
Oh, man. Oh, my gosh, I forgot about that skit. But you're right though. It's different times, man. Different generations. I don't think that our kids are gonna be able to rap. Like there's even some stuff us growing up poor, because we grew up poor. We lived in a 1976 double wide.
Yeah.
You know, nothing fancy. And but we didn't know. We was thankful for what we had, you know. Like to me, there's no material thing in life could ever replace my family. You know, some people are very much so like I didn't know we were poor probably till I got to high school
and went to another kid's house. That's how I learned.
Exactly. And I love those skits that show that because they resonate. So like somebody made something the other day about growing up in the 90s and finding out your friend had a garage refrigerator. I
saw it.
I was dying. I can't remember what her name is.
Oh, I don't know her name, but that was funny.
I wish I did, because I would tell everybody to go follow her. But yeah,
that's true. And like you start to notice, like kids don't care either. No. When people, even the rich kids, when they came over to my house, they never treated anything any different, which lets you know that shit is taught.
100%. I tell everybody, I'm like, listen, there's certain things that are taught. And when you get older, if you don't realize that, like, you know, you were taught these things, then that's on you. That's on you.
That's not something you developed in your head by yourself.
And that's with everything. Like I tell everybody, like, we were not born with hate in our heart for anybody.
Look at children. They don't have it.
You're taught that.
The only thing that kids come into this life and learn how to do by themselves is hit and lie.
100%.
They know how to do that right off the bat.
Yes, and tell the truth. Now they're gonna tell you the truth.
Oh yeah,
but
like it's so crazy that like a kid learns in their head by themselves. Like, she asked me to eat that sucker, and I don't have to tell her I did. No, I didn't. I can say no. Yeah. And they just go ahead and right off the bat, they're like, no.
No, I didn't eat it. They got the shit all over their face.
Terrible liars. No, but they learn how to do it by themselves.
Yep.
And hit. A kid knows how to hit.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody has to ever show them how to hit. No. They just get mad and swing.
I think that's like
it's
natural.
Primal. It's in you.
It's natural. You know, back in the caveman days, the babies had to like to defend themselves. I used to tell people that used to, because my kids slept with me. Both of my kids slept with me when they were babies, and you know, people used to give me shit about it all the time.
They still will.
And I'm like, look here, it's just primal. It's in us. It's in mothers. You need your baby near you.
You know, that's a great point.
Yes. Back in the day, cavemen, you got to think, you left your baby in a separate room in the caveman days. A damn saber-toothed tiger going to eat him if he starts crying. Dead. You know what I mean?
He's dead.
So don't even talk to me about it.
I have never in my life thought of that point. That's a great point.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Imagine a caveman taking their baby in the other room. Yeah. You're just sacrificing it.
Exactly.
All it is live bait so you can get away.
As soon as that baby starts crying. You can hear the baby
scream, you can run.
Yep. As soon as that baby starts crying, it's like one of those little...
you know there was some fucked up families that did that, though.
Dude, you know, they're like, we ain't going to be able to feed this one.
We had twins. We got one of them that we can spare.
Hey, you know, they were like, we ain't got enough food to last us for the winter. We got to get rid of this one.
100%.
You know? Yeah, you know, but back in the day, it's just like we were talking about with our grandparents. It goes all the way back to that too, you know, like there was shit that the cave people had to do that we were probably like, man, that was messed up, but they had to do it to survive.
When my kids get older, they're gonna be like, well, you did what?
Yeah, I know. I can't wait. I can't wait for it. I can't wait. I cannot wait. I can't wait to have grandchildren one day to tell them the stories. Yeah, we used to swim down in that water and stick our hand in that catfish's mouth, and we used to just pull them catfishes out.
No,
the
I
hole.
think you're crazy for that.
No, that's the funniest shit you ever did in your life,
You're
buddy.
crazy for that.
Listen,
you can't do that down here.
I know you said
You're
y'all have
almost sure to
alligators.
die.
No, in Georgia, where we're at in Georgia, we don't have a big alligator problem. So we could literally, and that's what you do. You literally swim under the water.
Like everywhere around here that has like fish camps, like
Yeah.
I'm sure y'all have more like a certain part of the river. Everybody has a camp together and like there's a launch. Maybe not. We have that down here. Like if there's a certain launch, a lot of people will have like fish camps.
Gotcha.
Like everybody lives in the same place. Like especially if like the river opens up like to a lake, there'll be houses all the way around it. Shitty houses, like like a trailer on the water. A lot of people will build them on a barge.
Yeah,
like,
we have that too.
Build a little house on the barge. None of these people can keep a dog. If they bring a dog there, it's alligators eating it.
Gone.
Yeah,
It's just alligators.
nobody gets to keep a dog.
Yeah, no, we have a bunch of huge man-made lakes in Georgia that the rivers run off into, and they like have
What
dams
river
and
do y'all
stuff like that.
have?
We have the Ogeechee River.
Okay, never heard of it.
You wouldn't.
Sounds like you made that up. We'll check her later.
So we have the Ogeechee River and the Savannah River. But one thing about the Ogeechee River is, and a lot of people don't know this, is we have a culture, an African American culture that came over way back when in the slave days, and they're actually called the Gullah Geechee people. I don't know if you ever watched that show growing up, Gullah Gullah Island.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's based off of where we're from.
Is it an island?
Sort of, kind of, yeah. You can only get to it by boat, basically.
Like ferry or something?
Yeah, you can only take a boat there. But it's this like Creole group of people that still live there to this day. Like it's still this culture.
Wait a minute.
So
hold on.
People don't believe.
Like, can you go there?
Yes.
Oh, so they're welcoming.
Yes, they're very welcoming. But you go there, and part of it, like they have like different restaurants and stuff set up that you can go to. But people don't realize that that's in the South, dude. It's fun. It's cool. It's cool to learn about somebody else's culture.
That's what I want to do.
You don't think about that being in South Georgia, but it's actually pretty cool to learn about.
I love any time that they preserve something. Like, you know what I mean? Like anytime you can go somewhere and not everything's destroyed and now it's a skyscraper.
No. You have to get to this place by boat, and it's pretty cool to research. So anybody who wants to research,
everybody likes like. Anywhere you go to a city, like most people like the downtown part of it. Yeah. Because it's the oldest part.
Because they preserve it. And
a
it's
lot
not
of
like
it. They do put their buildings down there or whatever, but they preserve a lot of it.
Savannah, Georgia, that's, we're anytime anybody asks where we're from, I just say Savannah because nobody knows where Stilson, Georgia is, or where Effingham County, Georgia is, or Bullitt County. But so I just say Savannah, Georgia. But that's why a lot of people like visiting Savannah, because Savannah has preserved their downtown area. It has been, they still have like the cobblestone, and the stairs of death that everybody talks about. You go down there to River Street and stuff, and they've kept everything down there. So it is a historic town. But let me tell you, you don't want to go to the wrong side of Savannah. Just let me go ahead and
I don't think you want to go to the wrong side of anywhere.
Ooh, because you can get to some trouble on the wrong side of Savannah.
It's always, I don't know how y'all's is, but like, usually with the downtown area, it's always like just a couple blocks.
Oh, and that's what it is. The whole, it's like surrounded. So, like you're going to go to this beautiful, if you ever come to visit Savannah, Georgia, you're going to come and there's going to be like this beautiful area of this just preserved everything, beautiful parks, beautiful whatever. And then 3 blocks over, there's crack kids. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you got to be careful. You have to be so careful. There's like crack kids and hookers standing on the corner.
That's ours.
You got to be careful when you go down there. So just like know where you're visiting when you come to
I guess everywhere is the same.
Yeah.
Because ours is just like that.
But then you go 30 minutes outside of Savannah and it's country. So like where we're from, you know what I mean? We're probably like 45 minutes from Savannah, but it's like you go from Savannah, this city life, this miniature Atlanta basically, with people that do not speak like me in Savannah, and then you go 30 minutes, 45 minutes outside the city limit and you're
Mm-hmm.
farmland. And I told you earlier, we have peanuts, cotton, and corn. Yeah. Those are 3 big crops where we're at. So
you see none of that down here. I'm not saying nobody grows anything, but we have more pastures with cows.
Gotcha.
Nobody's really cropping down here.
Yeah, we have few cattle farmers and stuff, but we're not real big with stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's a different world. It's crazy how you can go from city life to small town farm life. But good people around there.
But that's what I like. That's why I like where I live, because I'm close to stuff, but I don't live.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Y'all are just far enough out where it's like, okay, you can, and that's us too, and that's why we like where we live at. Where we stay at, it's quiet. But then if I want to go have like a girls' night out or something like that, it's just 45 minutes down the road.
Exactly.
To Savannah.
And that's even closer for us. Like, I just can't. I don't know. It won't be like that for long. They'll eventually get us too. Like, we're right
That's
on the
what we were telling you out there earlier.
Yeah.
I was like, it's closing in on us.
It's right. We're on the outskirts of it. The good thing about where we live is, like I told you, like right above us starts all the plants.
Yeah.
So it's not like people are really going to want to put a bunch of stuff.
Right there.
So
there's nothing.
That'll be the only thing that saves us.
Yeah, and y'all are pretty close to the coast too. Like, and that's
really
how we
close.
are. That's how we are too. And that's why we were talking last night about our weather being similar. I was man, this feels like home. We're basically, I think you said we're basically like straight across from each other. I'm just in Georgia and y'all are just in Alabama.
Yep.
So, but yeah,
and it's so crazy that it takes you that long to get here, because you think anytime that somebody says something and they're like, we live in Georgia, southeast Georgia. Yeah, I'm thinking like it's just a little
straight shot. Bam, no, 7 hours.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We just kept riding and riding.
Like, it's closer for me to get to Atlanta, which is like way up in Georgia.
Yes, isn't that crazy? Instead of just cutting straight across.
Which we are. We're in the nutsack, Alabama. We're at the very
Adam said
bottom.
That. Adam was like, man, they're really. He called it the leg. He didn't call it the nutsack. He's like, man, they're down there in the leg. Now I'm gonna tell everybody
at the very bottom.
I have been to the nutsack of Alabama. Mm-hmm. I can't wait. But
you fit right in.
I do. I told you at the Waffle House earlier. I was listening to people talk. I was like, shit, I think I might have been born here.
Oh, I could take you some places and you'd be like, oh God, this is like, I hear banjos.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, there's some places like that.
That's how I grew up. I grew up in a place called Turnerville, which is like 15 minutes from here, but it is just one caution light. It's all they got. They ain't got no stores. You know what I mean? Nothing. Like,
we have one
little country store.
That's us, the country corner. That's what we call it, the country corner. Yeah.
There's a country corner here too.
Yeah, see,
everybody's got one. Yeah,
everywhere. That's why I talk about it in my skits, and then there'll be like thousands of people in the comments. We got one in country corners too.
That's what you want. You want people to comment and say, "Oh, me
bingo,
too."
Bingo, bingo. And that's why I try to be relatable.
And you know what's crazy? Like, I can't imagine. I'm not hating on people. I love that they do it, but I can't imagine clicking on a video. Like, I clicked on one, the swimming video I did that got all the hate or whatever. Yeah. There's 1,500 comments, and they all say that's how I learned. And like, you're going to be 1501. That's how I learned.
Yeah, that's what you wanted, but that's what you.
No, that's what I want.
That pushes the video.
It is what I want. I just think it's so funny.
It is funny, but at the same time, like, you gave people something to relate to.
Exactly.
You know? It's not like you just did that to be whatever. Like, you gave people. I
wanted them to see it and be like, I did this too.
You gave them good content to comment about and start telling you. And that's what I love. I love when I post a video and people say, "Oh my gosh, this is nostalgia," or this brings me back to my aunts sitting on the back porch talking when I was kids, or for some reason this just, I'll make a crazy skit about seeing somebody's butthole, and I'll have people in the comments going, "This just warms my heart to hear that this
somebody else got to see
somebody else seen their neighbor's
porch.
Butthole too." You know what I mean? Like, it just But that's why I keep it. I love to hear other people's stories, in the comments about growing up. Like, I feel like we all had the same childhood in the South, We did. Like, I mean, it's just, it blows my mind that we did, but we didn't. Because you get the hate. Then you get the hate comments of people saying, that doesn't happen.
Well, I know it probably didn't in the country club, Connor, but you know what I mean?
Exactly. I can't help it. You grew up in $1 million house, Kathy.
But over here in Turnerville, it did. This is where it happened.
Over here in Eden, Georgia. But yeah,
I love the people that comment on Facebook. It's usually older people. Facebook's the only place where the old people are still at.
Oh yeah.
And I love when they comment and you're like, who are they talking to? Like, they'll just be like, Vinny, that was just like cousin Pat. And you're like, they didn't tag anybody.
Nobody. And you don't have to look at the profile picture. It's like somebody's grandma on there.
Oh yeah, she's got 4 selfies all like this.
Yeah. You're like, somebody come get their grandma, please. Please come get your grandma out in the comments. Yeah. Yep. I love those.
And I told somebody the other day on the podcast, the way that I've learned to quit replying to people, which now, me and you talked about this, the only way that I reply to people now is in a comedic way. 100%. I don't argue with anybody at all.
Nope.
I just do it in a comedic way. Like, somebody's like, I can't believe you'd flip your kid off. I was like, I'll flip yours off too.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
I'm going to reply just in a comedic way.
That comment that you made, plus that comment that they made, both of them gets hundreds, thousands of likes.
Exactly.
And then guess what that does? That
and I
keeps
used to
pushing that
argue
video
with
out.
these people back in the day.
No,
And I tell you
dude.
how I learned how to stop. I started clicking on their profile pictures.
Yes, sir.
And that'll make you
Yes,
stop
sir.
every time.
Yes,
You just
sir.
click on it and you're like, oh, this is the bottom of the barrel human.
100%.
I'm not going to argue with this guy.
Who cares what they think?
Exactly.
But then I use that against them sometimes too. So like if somebody's saying some horse shit and I'm in the mood for it, I will go to their profile picture and or their profile, and I will find the most ridiculous picture that they have of themselves, or like the most ridiculous post that they ever posted, and I'll screenshot it and then I'll like
Put
post
it in the
and
comment.
be like, and
Yeah.
this is who just made this comment. Like
I do that too. Like not with the screenshots, but I'll like I love clicking on the ones where it's like a 20-something-year-old guy and all of his profile pictures are like a selfie of him going like,
oh man.
I'll literally comment and be like, keep taking selfies, man.
Yeah, just keep on doing
And they'll be like, what does that mean? I'm like,
then they start getting self-conscious.
exactly.
They're like, wait.
People are commenting like,
I'm sorry I
Justin
made that
Stagner, I
horrible
went and looked at his
yeah.
profile. I
And
see
then-
it, yeah.
and then you
and
go
that's
back and
making
look.
it worse.
And then you go back and look, and they've deleted their whole comment.
The whole thread. Those
Dirty
are-
deleting.
Dude, you just feel like the ultimate victory whenever you go on there and you're like, where was that? Like you see that it had 1,500 replies,
Yeah.
so why is it not at
anymore.
the top?
Where'd it
It's
go?
gone.
That's why I love, that's why I started posting a little bit of car content with my Mustang.
Oh, yeah.
Because
They were eating you alive for that.
Dude, there's always some dude out there that knows
Knows better. What's
that
this
knows
girl
better.
doing?
What's this girl, this blonde
I'm not
girl
going
don't
to be
know
one of those
nothing
guys.
about
I'll go ahead and
nothing.
tell you, when you go to talking cars, you might as well speak Spanish. Like I remember that time you text me about my truck. I sent you my truck.
Yeah,
And you're
yeah.
like, do this and that and that. And I said, did you just have a stroke? I don't know what the fuck
I can't
you just
remember what
said.
I was saying. I think
don't
I was
either.
telling you to take
You
it
told
to
me
a
to do
tuner.
something to make it a sleeper. Whatever the hell that means.
I was telling you to find a Whipple. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, you need to stick a Whipple,
Which is,
like a 3.0
I think, is a
Whipple on that
surgery.
thing. Yeah, we were like, what? you were like, I don't even know nothing about nothing. I was like, never
I
mind.
said, you just have a
Never
stroke?
mind. I do know more than the common female about motors and cars and stuff like that. And but
My family was never those people, so I never learned any of it.
we were poor, so we wasn't either. But I did have a couple uncles that were into cars.
Yeah,
I just remember
somebody
growing
always
up,
has somebody that's into it.
I just remember growing up, like watching them get stuff and like
Were
get
those
these
people that
fast
used to
laugh-
read those? What were they called? Like the Auto Trader books
yes,
or whatever
yes,
it was.
yes,
Like on Joe Dirt. This guy's
Yeah.
got a '69 Barracuda.
Yes, that's my uncles. NASCAR, like
Yeah.
they're
See,
really.
our family never watched NASCAR. Nobody.
See that we half of my family did, not all of us. I had like certain
nobody.
uncles that
Courtney's
were just,
family do. I've never watched.
no, my uncle, my mom's brothers. Okay, they were very much like any type of sport you could ever think of. They were going to argue with you about it, loud. Like they're the dudes that like scream at the TV.
Yeah.
But like with the NASCAR,
That's us
too.
with Alabama
and that's why I played
football.
sports. So that's why I played. I seen my Uncle Junior, my Uncle Joe, my Uncle Billy, all them. We grew up watching them like basically fist fighting in the front yard over a basketball game and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I remember my head thinking, man,
Now
I
that-
need to get,
we were like
I
that,
need to get
yeah.
good so I could do that one day too, So, and they treated me like I was a little boy. Like I'm not the typical female in any sense either. Like people meet me and they find out about the things that I like to do, and it's not typical girl stuff. Like I grew
True.
up, my grandpa Collins and my daddy took me fishing, hunting and fishing. They never told me I couldn't because I was a girl. And I'm appreciative for that because I grew up I love to hunt and fish. And
That's
then
another
cars,
Southern people. They don't. When it comes to hunting and fishing, daddies love taking their little girls.
Yeah,
like they
yeah.
don't. There's no
Yeah.
discrimination.
No, none
Now
at
the little
all,
girl
none
might
at
not
all.
want to go, but
Yeah, right. But no, you can ask my husband. I will get. We went. I know I was sending you some pictures of us frog gigging the other
Yeah.
night, and you were like, "Holy crap!" And for real, I will go to the end of the earth to get a frog. You know what I mean? Like I will literally I take it. I'm so competitive with sports and anything like that. I'm so competitive. So like them frogs ain't.
that's why you like that Mario Kart video because that's
exactly
real life.
why. That's real
I don't
life
let
for me,
Jackson
dude.
win
Real,
nothing.
my kids neither. When my kids and my nephews get in the yard, okay, and we're doing anything like we played this little game the other day where I threw a football as far as I could throw it, and all of them had to like run and get it, and then I had to go tackle them and get the ball from them.
Yeah, we had a name for that when I was little.
we can't say that on here. Or then they'll throw it and then I go get it, and it would be like all 5 of them against me, and I won every time. And my mom's like, "You need to let them babies win one time." I'm like, "The hell I do." One day when they do beat me, then they can say they did something.
Exactly. I'll tell Jackson. He'd be like, "Daddy, why did you win?" And I'll say, "It's because I'm better."
Exactly. Like I am not.
He's like, "How are you so good?" I was like, "Guess what? I played this since I was your age."
Yeah.
So guess what? I'm supposed to be good at it.
Yeah, my dad used to beat me at
Guess what?
too.
You're going to be good at it too when you're my age.
When you're my age. Not today. That's why I tell my kid, "Mom, when you going to let us win?" Not today. That's always my...
Or any other day.
Not today.
Now, when you finally beat me, I'll tell you that I'll let you win.
Yes, exactly. Yes. I don't... That's me too. And that's mine and Adam's parenting style. We don't treat our kids like kids all the time. Like when we go out in the yard and we play stuff, I treat them like I'm playing with an adult.
Well, that's how, and to be honest, I don't care what anybody says. That does help them.
It does in life. Life is
even
cruel,
their
man.
speech. Like me and Courtney,
100%.
Never. And when I say never, I do mean never. Never baby talked. Never.
Me neither. Both
Still
of my
don't
kids
like.
talk. Both of my kids talked so well.
I remember his teacher being like, his vocabulary is. I'm like, yeah, because I talked to him like a human.
Exactly. Nope, same thing. I'm glad that we're on the same page when it comes to
It's weird. It's like
it is.
It wasn't like a conscious decision we made or whatever, but like we just didn't do it.
Some kids actually have like speech,
well, that's
delays
different.
and stuff like that. That's different. But I'm just saying that I get what you're saying, that you just didn't baby talk him. You didn't baby him. And we don't baby our kids now. If my kids do something wrong, I'm going to talk to them man to man. That's what I say. Like, we're going to have a man to man conversation and we're going to talk about what you did. And I'm not going to be nice about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna let you slide just a minute, but then once I tell you something and you don't learn from it, like, we're going to have a serious sit down. We're going to have a serious conversation about it, because life is cruel. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's why there are so many people that continually go to jail. They get out of jail, they go back to jail. They get out of jail because they don't have any sense of, like, there are rules in life that you have to follow, so...
You think that they would learn it.
You think.
You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
I got some cousins been in jail longer than they've been out of jail, okay?
That's crazy, isn't it?
They stay up in the jailhouse. They'll get out, and then they'll be out for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'll see them on that booking page. Oh, yeah. I love the booking pages.
We do too. We got them on Facebook.
Boy, I'd be screenshotting shit. I'd be like, "Hey, did you see where old so-and-so
they started one the other day, and it was so funny. It was called like... Oh, I'll never think of the name of it, but it was like hot girls that got mug shots. Oh, mug shotties is what they called it. Mug shotties. I have to look that up.
I have to be like, "What now? Adam, look at this page I just found."
Mug shotties.
Mug shotties. I'm gonna tell you this story now. Not about mug shotties, but we was talking about margaritas earlier.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever heard my story about when I got drunk off the margaritas at the Mexican restaurant? I thought my uterus fell out.
No, but you told me you told it on stage.
I did tell it on stage.
Well, tell it again.
Okay, so this was one of those times where, like, my kids were just big enough. I breastfed both of my children, okay? So I could never leave. I could never go anywhere, right?
Sure.
Because they wouldn't take a bottle. All they wanted was the titty, okay? Which, that's fine. That I chose to breastfeed them. I had to be 15 months, both of them. Never got to do nothing. Could never go anywhere for more than 2 hours. So when I got finished breastfeeding my youngest child, Chesney, I was like, it's fucking going down. Like, we're about to take an adult trip. I'm about to get white girl wasted like I've never
can be a woo
drank.
girl.
Oh man. So we took a trip. My husband's grandma has a lake house, and we took a trip, and an adult trip with, like, some of my aunts and my cousins. Everybody came, And we went to a Mexican restaurant, a little Mexican restaurant in the hole called Habaneros. Shout out to Habaneros in Lincolnton, Georgia. They have the best margaritas you ever had. So anyway, we got pictures of margaritas, and it was like my night, and everybody knew it was my night because I had been mama. I had been mama for far too long. So they were like, "Yeah, get another picture. And we were just pouring the drinks to the point where, like, I could barely make it back to the truck. So we get back home, and I have got to pee. Something fierce. And you know when you're drunk and you go to sit down on the toilet and you just flop down? So I made it to the bathroom, and I sit down on the toilet and I flop down really hard. That's an important point to remember, that I flopped on the toilet. And I start peeing, and while I'm peeing, I hear something go kerplunk. And in my drunken mind, I was like, shit, I might be drunk, but I know that when you go pee-pee, you should not hear nothing go kerplunk. So I look down in between my legs, and I see this little pink thing floating in the water. And I said, oh my God, my uterus has left my body. So, I work in the medical.
That it's a little pink thing.
It's a little pink thing about this big around. Well, that's about how big a uterus is now when you don't have a baby up in there. It's not very big. It's not very big. And I work in the medical field, so I'm thinking to myself, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Like, I was sobering up real quick, but I was still drunk. And I was like, all right, we're going to treat this thing like a severed digit. I got to fish it out the toilet. I got to rinse it off. And I got to find a cooler. And all we had was beer coolers. We were up there partying, So, again, my drunk mind thinks that... And then I'm like, I got to call an ambulance so they can sew this thing back in.
Sure.
So, in my drunk mind, I think to myself that I'm just going to walk out all nonchalant from the bathroom. And I have this... I had on my overalls. I stuck it in the front little pocket of my overalls.
Right where it should have been.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to walk out there and just discreetly call an ambulance. And the ambulance is just going to come pick me up and take me to the hospital. Nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to notice or nothing, Just that's how drunk I was. So anyway, I walk out the bathroom. I have this one cousin for legal purposes. We'll call her cousin Sally for this podcast. But we just know each other. Her name's Caitlin in real life. But anyway, we know each other. So I walk out the bathroom and I'm trying to be all discreet. And she locks eyes with me. She's like, bitch, something's wrong. What's wrong? And I said, come here. And she was like, what? I was like, my uterus fell out while I was pee-peeing. And she was like, what? So then she starts freaking out. So then my aunt was like, what's going on? What's going on? And I was like, everybody calm down. I'm a medical professional. But my uterus has left my body. And we need to call the ambulance. Somebody get me a beer cooler. We got to go to the hospital. And my aunt was like, well, come here. I was like, I got it in my pocket. It's right here. And my aunt was like, come here, baby. So I took it out my pocket. And she held her hand out. And I put it in my aunt's hand. And she looked at it for a second. And then she smelled it. She said, baby, ain't nothing come out of your cooter smelled that good. And I was like, how do you know? She's like, baby, this ain't your uterus. This is not your uterus. I was like, how do you know? And she said, let's walk to the bathroom. Y'all know what it was?
No.
It was the little smell good patty that you can hang on the side of the toilet. Yeah. When I had flopped down on the toilet, the shit fell in the damn toilet. I thought that my uterus had fell out.
How did you think the uterus became detached and fell out? I'm not very medically sound. Can it happen, though?
Probably not. Dude, I had to think. I cannot believe I worked in the medical field. I had to think about what people do have uterine prolapses, though. Like, there are women whose uterus does fall out through their cooch. I don't know if you know that.
I do not.
And then you have to have,
I just said,
Yeah, they have to, pin it back in and everything.
I know about a Philly...
So there is something that can happen medically where your uterus, and they have to, but I don't think it can fall all the way out. But I was drunk, Justin, so I didn't know shit. I was like, great. Boy, my damn uterus. I wasn't even mad because I hadn't had my babies, so I was like, well, worst case scenario, I just don't have one of them pyramids no more,
Pyramids? I'm telling you, if y'all don't follow Britany Smith, you need to, because her wordplay is the best. It is. My favorite to this day is when you were talking about your signs and stuff, and you're like,
the zodiac sign.
No, maybe it wasn't that. It was Mercury's in Gatorade.
It was that.
Mercury's in Gatorade.
I was like, boy, y'all better watch out.
Or in the microwave or something.
The fucking Saturn's in the microwave. But
idiot.
Do you know where? Okay, so let me explain to y'all where that comes from. My grandma Driggers, who passed away, God rest her soul, she was the funniest person on this earth, but she didn't mean to be.
My grandpa.
Okay, very naive. Very whatever, but she had her own language, and so she'd be so excited in heaven that I'm talking about her right now on a podcast, by the way. But she used to make up words just like that. When I said the thing in the zodiac sign, I was like, boy, they said, I looked up my zodiac sign. They said I'm one of them Stagner or that's how she talked.
My grandpa,
she couldn't remember. Yeah. Or
it sounds like you're describing my grandpa.
So she made up all these words, and her nickname was T-Bell. So we would call it T-Bell language. And that's actually where my little girl, her name is Chesney Bell. That's where her middle name comes from, my grandma. But anyway, she just had this made up language that she used. So that's why I do those skits. They're kind of like in memory of my grandma. So when y'all hear that on TikTok, just know that it's just some shit that my grandma said.
Y'all go follow Britany. She's by far my favorite on there.
I appreciate it.
And I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Tell everybody where to follow you.
Bsmithcomedy across the board. That's Facebook, Instagram, and that TikTok. Bsmithcomedy. I finally switched everything over. It was all confusing.
Now, I know. I had the same problem. I had my Facebook page was the Stagners for no reason. I guess when I started it, I thought Courtney was going to be in more skits.
Yeah, the things you learn, though.
Yeah.
You know, hindsight's 20/20, like we talked about earlier.
All right, guys. Y'all take it easy. Bye.
Thank you.